Hey everyone, welcome to Bootstrapping Tools. I'm a guy called Joe, and this is part 3 of our series in building an app using Retool and Google Sheets, where Google Sheets serves as our database or the backend that powers the front-end application we're building on Retool. Now, the last thing that we did was to create an interface where you could select the lead from the left-hand bar, and then you would be able to see the information on the right-hand side, including the name, the address, the phone number, email, as well as the plan that user was on, their status, as well as the amount that we're getting month after month, or monthly recurring revenue MRR, as well as ARR, or the estimated ARR. Now, what we're doing today is actually we're going to enhance the ability of our CRM. Like any good CRM out there, it has to do more than just provide you with information and status management. You need to also be able to connect with your lead. And that's why today we're going to focus on integrating with SendGrid. Now, if you don't know what SendGrid is essentially an email service provider. Now, if we actually go over to the website, we can give a little bit more information here. It's really good for API, and which is basically it's an application protocol interface, and developers really love using SendGrid because of the flexibility that it has. Also, I mean, they just got acquired by Twilio not too long ago, and Twilio is a huge company, so that must mean that SendGrid's been doing something well. But it's pretty popular, and I like using it. They also have a free plan, which is another reason why I wanted to show it to you. That way, you know, you're not stuck in this whole loop, because if you're watching this, you're likely trying to save on your budget and build where you can. So feel free to check it out. But otherwise, let's dive into the application. So this is where we left off last time. We added in a bunch of things. Now, the first thing that we're going to want to do in order to integrate with SendGrid is to go over to our resources. So go back out to the home page for Retool, and then go over to the resources. And then I've already added in here, but I'll actually show you how you can do it yourself. So you'll click on the create new, and then on the options here, you'll find SendGrid in there. Don't choose the Twilio one, even though Twilio acquired SendGrid recently. SendGrid has its own integration here. It's all separate. So you click on that, it's going to ask you for the name. You can give it a name. I gave it just SendGrid, and then your access token. Your access token is provided underneath your SendGrid account. So over here, I have mine up over here. So it's not this ID, it's actually this access key, which they don't let you see after you created it. So for you to just do that, log into your account, create an API key, give it full access, name it something, and then click on the create and view. Once you hit that create button, it's going to display a token. Copy that. Make sure you save it somewhere important. Just don't lose it, because you can never get it back again. Once you go back over here, it's going to say, you know, you can't display it anymore, and you have to create another one if you do lose it. So make sure you copy it and then you put it somewhere safe. And once you have that, you're going to go back over to Retool, and then you're going to add in the access token, test your connection. It's going to give you all thumbs up, and then you can go ahead and just hit the create resource button and now save. Once you have that, it'll be on here, and then you can use it everywhere within your application. So going back over to our application here. What you're also going to want to do now that we have the resource connected is you want to create a query for it, or well, Retool calls it queries. This is more like a request. So I've already created one. This is what it kind of basically looks like. But let's start a brand new one just so I can show you from start to finish how you can set this up. We're going to create a resource query, and then underneath resource, you're going to choose your SendGrid integration, or your SendGrid resource. Once you select that, it's going to ask you for an operation. Now, the one that we care about, because we're sending an email, is actually /mail/send. This is the core API endpoint that you're going to want to hit in order to send an email out. And if you have any questions about it, you can always reference SendGrid's API docs. Like I mentioned before, a lot of developers like SendGrid because of their API. Their API is very, very robust. It's got a lot of flexibility in it, and there's a lot of documentation. SendGrid does a really good job at giving you documentation around how to use their API. So this one over here can actually maybe show you a little bit of information. So hit try it out over here. It's going to give you a bunch of parameters here, exactly what it needs to look like. It also gives you a couple of code snippets if you're having a little trouble with that. But for us, we don't need to worry about that because Retool, being the simple tool that it is going to give us all of that right off the bat. So actually, let's go back over to the definition and then go to the example. This will be a little bit easier for us to read. And we're going to switch back and forth between these two tabs now. So you're going to see here, there's a little bit of information. You can read that if you want. There are templates, but we're just going to do it kind of raw just to get this going. You're going to hit body content, which the AR stands for array over here. So we're going to go back here, body content. You're going to scroll down. You're going to see that content field over here. And then everything within the square brackets is what you want, because that's an array. I'm going to take that, plug that in here. Don't worry about editing this just yet. We're going to leave it as is. The subject is a string, so actually, strings you can just put in double quotes, and let's just say test email from Retool. And then from the you just need to make sure it's one that works. So let's actually copy this format over here for now. We're going to go back, and then it requires an object. That's why we have the curly brackets. So the email that we're going to use today is demo@bootstrapping.tools. And then we don't have to worry about the name because we don't actually have one. So we'll leave that there. One really important point though, before you can actually send an email through SendGrid with an email address, you have to have authenticated that email address. Now, what does that mean exactly? Well, when you're in SendGrid, there is a sender authentication option over here, and then you have to be able to authenticate it. So you can see here, mine is verified. You just have to go through that. It's going to send you an email, and then you just have to hit the verify button. Now, this is just for testing purposes for the single sender verification. The best one you can do is domain authentication. If you have any trouble with that, ask an engineer, or you can leave a comment in the comments below. Just leave a message there, and maybe I can help you out. But essentially, this has to do with how your domains are set up. If you don't have a website, you can't do it. So just stick with the single sender verification and just do it with your Gmail email or something like that. But back to this, we are going to use the demo@bootstrapping.tools email address. That's an object there. And then personalizations, this is just the to and the CC and the BCC area. So that also requires a square bracket or an array. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to let's take all of this for now because we don't actually need anything else from there. Let's say from here to here, and then once we have this, copy it and then paste it in here. We actually don't need all of this information. We just need the to section. So we can actually delete all of this out, and then just make sure you didn't delete any extra things. I deleted an extra curly bracket here. So that matches up with this matches with that, and then I don't have two twos. We're just gonna leave that here. And for testing purposes, we're gonna send it to ourselves, just to make sure that, I don't wanna send it to some random person. So let's say demo is the name here. And now that's looking pretty good. You can set the reply to as well if you want to. For an example of what the reply to looks like, just go over to the example that they have in the documentation. It's also an object. You can copy that, paste it in, and then let's set this to demo@bootstrapping.tools as well, and we can call this demo reply to. Okay, so this looks pretty good. We got everything set up. We're gonna hit the preview button and just test it out. This should give us a 200 response or green light positive. So this is good. We didn't get any issues here, and then I'm gonna check my email actually, make sure that got sent. And lo and behold, email test from Retool, and then that's sending that basic default copy that we got from the documentation. So going back here now, you probably don't want it to say all this mumbo jumbo. You want it to display something that's actually written out by you or one of your employees. So what we're actually going to do here is we're going to add in a rich text editor over here. So go ahead and pop out the right panel for your components, and then we're going to type in rich text editor, and that's the one that we want. So let's drop that in here. It's actually a pretty big mark, so let's expand this, and we actually don't need all of this over here, so we can bring this up and just rearrange things a little bit. And let's make this full width. And then we're going to add in a button too. And what this button is going to do is it's going to act as the thing that actually sends the email. So we're going to want it underneath of the, I'm going to want this underneath of the text editor. So let's just rearrange things a little bit. And we can, yeah, sure, why not? We can make this a little bigger. Gives a little bit more room to curate our message here. And then while we're at it, we might as well make this guy bigger too. All right, so now we have the text editor. Let's update this. We can, let's call it email body. And then we'll call our button send email. Actually, while we're at it, let's also name this guy send email. Actually have another one, so let me just delete that first, and then rename this to send email. I'm a stickler for naming things correctly, either single or plural. It does make a difference when you're reading your code. Okay, so now what you'll notice is that because I named the email body and this button, I guess I didn't name it, send email. Oh, gotta name something else. Sends email button. Okay, better. So because I named it, I want to reference that. And that's actually what we're going to do here in our API call. So the value is currently set to this string that we've pre-populated in there. So we're going to delete that out. And then remember, Retool uses the double curly brackets. So we'll add that. And then we're going to do email body. And it's email body dot value. That way, when we pass through the information to the SendGrid API, we're going to pass through anything we've written in the rich text editor as the value for that email body. We're gonna actually, I'm just gonna explain the to section instead of doing it because I don't want to send random emails to random people. But if you wanted to do it, let's actually name this lead email. And what you would do here is you would, instead of doing the email address in a string, you're going to do lead email and then dot value. So you notice here in the little in the preview, it has the person's email over here, and then if you wanted to do the name, you'd do something very similar to that. You would do, I guess, what is the name assigned to right now? It's this one. So we're actually going to name this lead name. And just naming your variables are very important. It's very clean. You should make it a habit to do that. So lead name dot value, just the same way that we did it before. And you can see in our preview over here that it has the name as Anna and then the email address as Anna at whatever. Now, if we save this, whoops, it's gonna run. It shouldn't run. Okay, so if we save this and then we click around and click the Vita or Beta, and then we go back here. Now this also changes too. And the same thing goes for if we click on Kizzy, this will update to Kizzy. Now, I'm just gonna remove this for now because I'm afraid of sending emails to people that I don't want to send emails to. So I'm just gonna rename that, and then I'm gonna say demo 2 section is your name now. So we'll do that, we'll save it, and let's minimize this a little bit. So we have text in the email body. So let me actually show you that real quick. When we click on this, the value is currently set to text. And if we change it, this is a rich text editor. When we click on this, you'll notice that it says this is a rich text editor. Okay. So now we want to update our email, our send email button. So we're going to say send email is the text for it. And then on click, it's going to run a query, and then we're going to select the send email query. Now, when this button is hit, it's going to send whatever message is within the rich text editor, and then it's going to send that email to the email address we were just testing with before, demo@bootstrapping.tools. Sorry, that's the reply to section over here, personalizations, demo@bootstrapping.tools, and then with the name, demo2 section. So that's basically it. We can this should take in any of the styling that you're going to find, so we can actually test it out here. So let's say H1, H2, then bold, italics. So if we take a look at that, click on here, you'll notice that all the HTML is added in to the body, to the value that we're going to be passing through to the SendGrid API. So now that we have this all laid out, let's remove those panels. This is basically what it looks like. Let me actually, whoops. Let me select all of this and then copy it just in case we lose it. Because I actually wanted to show you guys. So I click on here. Okay, so all that stays good. And then our send email still has all the, oh, did I not save it? Or maybe I did save it. Hold up. Let me refresh. Sometimes Retool does this. It caches things. So let's just quickly reload and then see if we lost anything. I think we did. That's okay. If you guys remember how to do it, we can do it all over again. That's it's fairly easy to do, so I'm not too worried. So let's paste that. We had that in our clipboard before. Once again, if you guys remember, we're going to replace this with curly brackets, email body dot value, and now it's going to display the rich text editor and what we put in there. And then we're not going to change anything here. Actually, I said this is demo2 section. Let's save this. Okay, looking good. Our button over here actually needs to get updated as well. So let's click on this. Send email button. And then we're going to select the send emails query. Actually, I don't like this name. Singular. Okay, now this also dynamically updated, looking good. So now close this all out. Now what's going to happen is this should send over to the email address that we were just testing with before. So we hit the send button. Everything ran. We got the little banner message before that just said ran successfully. So if we go back to our email, we're going to notice that boom here. This is a, where'd it go? Refresh. Yes, I want to see that message. Okay, here we go. And this is the email that we just sent over, and it includes the rich text editor, bolding, and H1 and H2 information. So, in a nutshell, that is how we would do it. Just add in a little box here, map this over to our SendGrid API call, which we're using a resource for that's provided by Retool. And then we just fill in the parameters, make sure that you make them dynamic by using the variable names for it, and best practice is to name your variables as such, like email body, so that it's easy for you to reference them as you're working with everything. But that's basically it. If you do have questions about how to set up SendGrid in Retool and how to use that information or mix it with anything else that you have, feel free to leave a comment in the section below. We're always here to help, so don't be shy. Also, please hit the like button if you did like this video and you found it helpful. That'll help a lot of other people who are looking to do the same thing as you find this video, so that everybody can learn how they can create fast prototypey apps that would accomplish small tasks in a really great way. So Retool, great application. You guys should check it out. SendGrid, also a great application. You guys should also check that out. Both have free options that will help you bootstrap your business from day one without having to spend too much or break the bank or go over budget. But also, don't forget, hit the subscribe button. This is only part 3. We have a couple of more parts coming. So hit the subscribe button and hit the bell so that you get notifications when we release those next sections. But either way, this has been Bootstrapping Tool, building an app together on Retool using multiple different apps, including Google Sheets as our backend. I'm a guy called Joe. It has been a pleasure, and we're out.